everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. So today I have recent reads number 31 to 40. So let's just jump right in. So number 31 was Crime of the Ancient Marinara by Stephanie Cole. This is book 1 in the Tuscan Cooking School Mystery Series. And I enjoyed this one. It's set in Italy. And it's set in a cooking school, which just sounds fantastic. I didn't like this one as much as the first book, Al Dente's Inferno, but I thought it was still really fun, and the characters are really fun, and I'm looking forward to reading the next book. So I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. Number 32 was Winter's Heart by Robert Jordan. This was a buddy read with Angela from Literature Science Lines and Grace from Grace Dion. And the buddy read was fun, but this book was not really. Most of the book was a slog, and the only reason that I blew through this in 3 days is because it is probably the shortest Wheel of Time book. And I was able to listen to it on like 2.4 speed and just blow through it, and I know I missed some stuff, but frankly, I don't care at this point. The one positive is that the ending was really good, so that's why I gave it a 3-star. So we're gonna continue. Got one more book left in the slog, and then on to the good books. Number 33 was the Paper Menagerie and Other Stories by Ken Liu. I joined in a little bit late for the buddy read with Angela from Literature Science Lines, Evie from She Was Only Evie, and Abby Salter. And this is a short story sci-fi fantasy collection. And I was so blown away by this book. I knew it was going to be good because I'd only heard good things about it. This was my first Ken Liu, and I just thought it was so exquisite, and I didn't have a lot of experience with short stories before this. I'd really only read like classics short stories and cozy mystery short stories, which aren't my favorite. He has such a gift of packing emotion and character development and excellent plot in such a compact package, if that makes sense. And there were some stories that literally just made me cry and just really hit me. I liked every single story. There were some I was just kind of okay on, but I still enjoyed them. And this is just the best short story collection I've ever read in my entire life. I just loved it so much. And it's one of those books that even though I finished it weeks ago, I still think about some of the stories and they just still hit me. So I'm definitely going to read more of his work. This was the easiest 5 stars I've given. I just loved it so much, and I highly recommend you check it out. Next I read A Muddied Murder by Wendy Tyson. This is book 1 in the Greenhouse Mystery Series. We follow Megan Sawyer, and she gives up her law career to care for her grandmother and run her family's organic farm and cafe. And she expects peace and quiet, but instead stumbles upon a murder. I really enjoyed this one. I thought the farming theme was really fun, and I loved all the non-traditional cozy companions like goats, and I'm definitely interested in continuing on with the series. It was a really nice, light palette cleanser. Next I read Violeta by Isabel Allende, translated by Frances Riddle. And I read this as an arc. I've only read one other Isabel Allende book, and that was Innes of My Soul, and I read it probably 15 years ago. So I didn't really know what to expect from this one, but we follow Violetta, and her story is bookmarked by two pandemics, so the Spanish flu epidemic and then COVID. So even though there are pandemics, they don't really come into play that much. So this isn't just focused on pandemics, because I don't really want to read about that. It's too real right now. But I really enjoyed her life story, and it's told in the form of letters to her grandson. And I just thought it was such a heartfelt, beautiful story. And the characters were really fleshed out, and there were really vivid descriptions. I will say I wasn't as connected to the characters as I wanted to be. I felt like the ending was a bit too drawn out. But I did really enjoy it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Muslim, a novel by Zahia Rahmani, translated by Matthew Reek, and this was for Invisible Cities for January, so I was very behind. And this was for Algeria. And this is kind of a genre-bending reflection, and it kind of looks at the loss of the main character's native language and imprisonment and exile for being a Muslim. I really wanted to like this, but I feel like it felt a little disjointed and chaotic, and I wasn't 100% sure what was going on. I will say the last part of the book I did enjoy. It really focused on deconstruction of language and losing your mother language, and I did think it was beautifully written, but it was just too disjointed for me, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. Next, I read The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. This is book 1 in the Winnowing Flame trilogy. I loved this so much. So much. And my beautiful, wonderful friend Fina sent me books 2 and 3, and now I can continue on with the series, and I'm so freaking excited. But this is a high fantasy series, and it's set in the city of Bora. We've got like parasitic spirits that kind of prey on people, and there's a main character that's kind of like a vampire. Like, he uses blood to heal himself. And the main character, Noon, is a witch, and they are not embraced by society. And my favorite character is this eccentric explorer, Lady Vincenza de Grezon, and nicknamed Vintage. I absolutely loved her. So she is determined to find the answer about these parasitic spirits. And I'm definitely not explaining this very well, but it's such a fun ride, and I really loved it. I loved the world building. I thought it was unique. I really enjoyed the characters. Vintage gives me Lady Trent vibes, which I love. So I'm definitely going to continue on with the series, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Finished Off in Fondant by Rosemary Ross, and this is book 2 in the Courtney Archer mystery series. So, Chef Courtney Archer is one of the hosts for the American Baking Battle, and discovers a body. So she gets involved to solve the murder. This is a really fun, cozy. I love the baking theme, and there's a wedding theme, so there's a lot of cake, which is so good. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really fun, light, cozy mystery. Next, I read Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. I read this for Feb Regency, and it's set in England with the Saxons, and it's got Ivanhoe and Rowena, and there's tournaments and Robin Hood, and this one was just such a fun page turner. I had such a good time reading it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I will definitely reread it in the future. And finally, I read The Bone Shard Emperor, which is book 2 in the Drowning Empire series by Andrea Stewart. This was so good. So we continue on with the events that happened in The Bone Shard Daughter, and I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but I liked this one because we kind of zeroed in and focused more on some of the characters like Lynn and Jovis, and the side characters' arcs were really fun and they helped to advance the plot, but they weren't plot conveniences, if that makes sense. And I just thought it was really well paced, and I loved the plot twists. And Mephi is still my absolute favorite. I love him. I want a Mephi. And all I will say is that Shark, I am so excited to see where that goes. If you know, you know. But I really, really loved this, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So I'm really excited for the next one. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I need it like yesterday. So those are books 31 to 40. Have you read any of these? If so, let me know. For an emoji, drop some kind of cake or dessert emoji down below. As always, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.